Sup nerds? This is a Ronin review for you, the fighting game player who watches our 2.4 videos. Today, we're taking a look at the Fusion line from PowerA. This is their wired FightPad for the PS4. How does it stand up to a regular DS4 controller? How does it stand up to a fight stick? We're gonna find out now! So when we were at EVO 2019, we went by the PowerA booth and we got hands-on with this. Me and Sasquatch, we played a few matches of MK11 on these bad boys, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. So this is kind of like PowerA's version of the Hori Fighting Commander, which we reviewed many, many years ago. And then there's just several different variations of fight pads that exist out in the world. Mad Catz had one that was completely atrocious, if I remember that correctly. This is PowerA's version, which is not atrocious. So this is your 6-button layout. This is your typical fight stick, Street Fighter 6-button layout. Your Tekken, everything that you can imagine that you would ever want in a fighting game controller. It is right here. This is geared towards fighting games. Now, there's no directional sticks. You have just your D-pad, and we'll talk about what I feel about this D-pad, and then your buttons that have good give, nice little clicky buttons, and 2 triggers, and a 9-inch cable. This is a wired pad. There's no internal battery, which is of course why it is cheap, which is how they can sell it for the typical price. This is $59.99 MSRP that you can get Amazon, you can get it GameStop, you can get it all over the place. But no battery, can't play it wireless, plug it in. But if you're a fight stick player, you're used to being wired because that gives you low latency. It gives you all kinds of good stuff that you know and love from your fight sticks is translated right here into a controller. When I am a pad player, when it comes to fighting games, I've distanced myself so far from fight sticks that if somebody sat a fight stick in front of me, I'd probably just spit on it, cover it in urine, and just set it on fire. Yeah, I used to love to collect fight sticks, but now I can't even stand to be around them. So, love me the pads. I love pad options. And the buttons on here are their Alps action buttons. That's like their proprietary type of functionality that they have on their sticks and their buttons and stuff like that. These are good throw. They feel really good. What I love about buttons is I need that clicky feel. I hate just kind of squishy, mashy, soft buttons. These have that nice give and that click and good response. And it feels good when you're playing it. Now, it does have your PlayStation On button, has a share button, your options button, and then down here you have a 3-way toggle switch. Now what this 3-way toggle switch does, it can be switched into 3 different positions here. So obviously that's gonna offer you on-the-fly customization of the directional pad and the shoulder buttons. The directional pad, when you're switching through these things, can be transformed into 8-way functionality while rendering the left and right shoulder buttons that can be assigned for full thumbstick operation. So it's a really interesting way of adding customization to your controller. I, myself, just leave it on the DP, so I just have the directional pad. I don't need any of that extra stuff, but maybe that's a cool functionality for you. I'm not here to judge you or any of your life decisions at all. You play the way that you want to play. Let's talk about this D-pad a little bit, because this is what they call their floating D-pad. So it does have, I don't like it, if I could be real with you. I'm not a big, I like my D-pads to be fucking sharp and concise and just cut out, and you know you're pressing right, you know you're pressing back and forth, up and down. This, with that floating design and this big bulky thing, it reminds me of the original Xbox 360 controller, and that was the worst D-pad design of all time. This isn't horrible. This is kind of, I think, trying to mimic the disc type of pads like the Elite controller has that you've seen on some of the, like the Xbox controller and stuff. The floating D-pad, yeah. I'm not a big fan of it. I find a few missed inputs here and there. It's not as awful in terms of accuracy as my ranting right now may lead you to believe. This is just a personal preference. You may dig this kind of D-pad, but this isn't for me. I like the more cutouts, like of the DS4, the DualShock 4 controller. I think it has a perfect fucking D-pad. It's amazing. If they would have just translated that over here, this could be a perfect fight pad for me. This is a big detour. The thing about the floating D-pad is I think it wants to give you this fight stick feel. So it's kind of floating around almost like a stick would with your 8-way directional. Especially so like if you're playing Tekken, you're moving in 3-dimensional spaces and stuff where that precision doesn't quite really need to be there, but you know, like on a 2D plane, like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, It just doesn't gel with my style. That's why I don't like playing on fight sticks. I like D-pads. It's just how I play. So that is my personal biggest qualm with this. It's still a great controller though. It's still worth the $59.99. If I had to compare it to the Fighting Commander from Hori, it's been a while since I've had my hands on that controller, but I do think that I like the D-pad on that better, but I think I like the buttons on this better. I think this feels like a more modern day controller. Plus you have the changeable faceplate. It comes with the blue one and this white one, which is really cool. Going back to the fight stick roots, you always want that customization to be there so you can make things feel more you. So you could pop this bad boy off, paint it any which way you see. Very cool. Huge fan of that. So customize this any way you want, put stickers on it, paint it, just spray paint a big wiener on there. I don't care what you do. It'll look cool. It'll look like you, like a big wiener. It reminds me, when I first think of things, it reminds me of a Super Nintendo controller. Just has that kind of just sits in the palm of your hand, doesn't have like the protruding edges. They're there, but it's very just small, light. And I do like heavier controllers, so I am more excited of the Fusion Xbox wired controller. That's kind of like the Elites than this, but still super cool. And I think if you don't have the budget for a fight stick, but you want a 6-button layout that you can still play claw, Gordy prefers to play claw and stuff like this, this is a perfect controller for you. So yeah, I do recommend the buy. You can get anywhere, like I say, $59.99 at this time. I'm sure it'll go on sale here and there, especially with the holidays coming up, but it's cool. One thing I forgot to mention just a few minutes ago as well is it does have the 3.5mm audio jack on the bottom for your headsets, so that does have something up over the Fighting Commander. I don't believe that had that, and a lot of fight sticks don't have that, so this is cool. You want to be able to hear what's going on. You want to be able to talk shit to the people you're fighting and tell them as you're teabagging them with your character about, you know, what the insides of their moms feel like and stuff. Super cool. So anyway, guys, that's our quick look here at the Fusion wired fight pad for the PS4 by PowerA. PowerA has come a long way in their products over the last couple of years. We took a look at the Nintendo Switch stuff. We're taking a look at this, the Xbox One. They're making solid products these days. I do think this is worth a buy. They have a whole suite of stuff that I think is actually worth taking a look at. Good peripherals for your consoles. Very cool company. Good people to work with. And I appreciate them sending us these controllers so we could take a look at them for you. And that's the review. Yeah, go buy it. And if you like this video, thumbs it or don't. I don't care. Subscribe though, or don't. Still don't care. Adam Ronin on your screens right now. Now you can just shift up and over to your next tab, or you can resume watching Pornhub.
How did I know you were going to say that?